Hello and welcome back. I'm Myrna, your host for this episode of our Neighbors Helping Neighbors podcast from Father Joe's Villages, a beacon of hope for 75 years. This is a continuing podcast series exploring homelessness, its causes, and its solutions to the issue. To learn more about our mission, please visit neighbor.org and visit us online at Father Joe's Villages. As Father Joe's Villages celebrates 75 years of transformative service, on this episode of Neighbors Helping Neighbors, we continue celebrating our 75th anniversary by showcasing the power of hope, resilience, and community. Imagine waking up without a home, without stability, without hope. Now imagine the power of one volunteer, one act of kindness to help someone back to stability. That is the power of community, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We will hear directly from two inspiring individuals. We have Liza Heredia, Philanthropy Manager of Volunteer Services, and Peggy Humphreys, a dedicated volunteer with Our Ladies Guild for over a decade, contributing to our mission in countless ways. And as always, we have our co-host, Deacon Jim Vargas, CEO and President of Father Joe's Villages. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this conversation.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Thank you. Let's start with a few introductions, and Peggy, I'll start with you. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Ladies Guild and Father Joe's Villages.
Well, I'm retired environmental engineer. And once I retired, I realized I had a lot of time on my hands. My husband and I have always been blessed with a roof over our heads and steady income. And giving back has just been part of who we've always been. And we've had the benefit and the opportunity to be able to donate financially to Father Joe's Villages, but I in particular like to know who it is I'm really helping. And being able to be at the village and interacting with the families there just makes it all that much better.
Thank you so much, Peggy. That's so meaningful to add to your financial contributions with additional meaningful impact by volunteering your time. Thank you.
And Peggy's great. She, along with so many other members of the Ladies Guild, you're there front and center. It's just at every event. I mean, you guys are absolutely great. We're going to talk about the Ladies Guild, yeah.
Yes, I've got lots to say.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And Liza, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at Father Joe's Villages, and what you do here.
Sure. I've been with Father Joe's Villages for 13 years, and I actually started as a volunteer at the front desk over 13 years ago. And I was going to school for social work, and I ended up coming to Father Joe's Villages, and I realized this is where I need to be. So here I am.
Amazing.
And Liza's humble. She does great. She has a small but mighty team, but they love what they do. I love to watch them, and because they just love including the community in the work that we do, and that's what it's all about. I mean, you sense it, Peggy. I mean, it's just a matter of when you volunteer, they're volunteers who when I thank them, I'm always thanking volunteers because they need to be thanked, right? And we're grateful. And the response I always get back is, oh, are you kidding? We thank you for allowing this service. And a lot has to do with Liza and her team because she's just imbues in them a sense of excitement when she presents opportunities to them, right? I mean, she matches up the volunteers with the opportunities because we're so varied. We have many opportunities, and she does a great job of matching them so that people feel fulfilled at the end of the day, which is great. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, too.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Deacon Jim, a lot of people know who you are, but for those who don't, would you mind telling us about yourself?
Well, I've been blessed to be in this organization, just celebrated my 10th anniversary just about a month ago. And I have to tell you, I'm excited each and every single day when I come in. And we have so many challenges. It's incredible the amount of challenges that we have. But at the end of the day, it is God's work that we're doing, and I know that He's there, and He'll bring it together. And despite all the challenges, we just need to step up to the plate and make sure we meet those challenges. And so, to watch people who have been especially so impacted by their situations, and then rise up, out of their situations, it just inspires me. It inspires me especially because there's so much resiliency. And on the part of people who are on the streets. It's hard being on the streets. I've never been on the streets, thank God. But I mean, I watch this and I see how difficult it is. And so the fact that they can they avail themselves of the resources we're blessed to provide them. They do the work, all right? We help them along, and then they rise up to self-sufficiency, and that just jazzes me. By the way, that's a new word. The word of the week. I was in a manager meeting with our supervisors and managers, and one of our team members used that term, and I love this. So it just jazzes.
It's a great word.
That is a
Yes,
good word. I like
it
that.
is a great word. So let's start with a couple of questions. Hope is at the core of every transformation. Can each of you share a memorable story of someone whose journey from hope to home has stayed with you? And what was that moment like for you?
I can go first.
Sure.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Let's go all the way back to when I was volunteering and then working for the organization. My mentor was actually a former client, and his name was David. And he had been experiencing homelessness on the streets for 16 years. He was battling an addiction with heroin, and this all stemmed from losing his son, who was in the Army, and then the challenges resulted in he and his wife divorcing, which led to him on the streets for 16 years. But here I was working alongside a big teddy bear who had, at that time, clients graduated the program. He had graduated successfully with the support of Father Joe's Villages and Father Joe himself, and was so proud to be the person that everyone saw when they walked into the lobby. And what I learned from this man was resiliency and hope. He eventually ended up going into the program and successfully completing all the requirements needed for him to become self-sufficient, and he wanted to give back. And there he was, giving back to people who were going through something that he already had experienced. And I learned how to be compassionate and direct, how to be assertive with the clients, how to have a balance of giving tough love and also encouraging clients to take advantage of our services. And I'll never forget his story, and I'll never forget David.
That is
That's
That's
so
a fabulous.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. That's
yes,
really great.
so impactful and so many lessons learned from one client.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Peggy?
Well, I recently saw, I think it was a Maya Angelou quote, that fear and hope cannot occupy the same space. And what I love about Father Joe's Villages is that you bring people in, that takes away their fear. It gives them a safe space. And with just taking that first step to get them into a safe environment gives them the foundation that they can build on, that then allows hope to grow, because there's too many higher priorities. And you know, as a mom, I look at families that used to be homeless. If they were living in their car, I know that mom's highest priority is taking care of her kids.
Absolutely.
It's emotional.
It is
I get emotional all the time. The fact that you provide that space for those moms to be able to get beyond the basics of just protecting their children and being able to establish a home and letting them build new lives that are safe and productive, hope just is going to flood into their hearts.
Sure.
So it's just the best part of what you do.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and so authentically. One of the, and if I could just share a quick story I may have shared before, the very first holiday that we spent here at Father Joe's Villages, and I attended the children's Christmas party, which at the time was still here in our facility as we were recovering from the pandemic. I had only been here for a few months, and this is a memory that, still guts me to this day, because I started to see the families flow in, and there's moms with newborns, small children and teenagers. And in that moment, I had to step back and kind of take it in, because in that moment, I was thinking about how lucky I was to be at an organization that brought them in, because otherwise, where would they be? Like, it was such a blessing that they were here at Father Joe's Villages and not somewhere else out on the street. So thank you for sharing. As a mom too, I think that really sits with me.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a parent, I think we become emotional, because we're all parents right here at this table, and especially with the teenagers. I mean, I guess that point in time, I think of my own children, right, at the time, and the blessings that they had, and the blessings that my wife and I had with them, and I see the struggles that the teenagers have, right? It could have been my children, right? And there, but for the grace of God, we were fine. But these parents, they have aspirations for their children as well. And the aspiration is that they be homeless, right? That's not the aspiration, right? When any parent, because it's just instinctive, when a parent has a child, they want the world for them, right? And that's the aspiration. And then things happen, challenges, spouses die, as an example, or they become sick, or whatever. There's so many things that come into play here, and just the economics. I'm often asked, what knocks people onto the streets? People think it's substance use, mental health challenges. The reality is that the number one reason is the economics. It's extremely expensive to live here. And with rising inflation, people just hang on by their fingernails. They finally lose grip and they fall onto the streets, right? So it's the economics, and we see that in the families, more families falling onto the streets, right? So,
well, and Deacon, I think there's a statistic that maybe still holds true, that in San Diego, 50% of homeowners are just a few paychecks away from losing their home.
it's true.
Just like you mentioned, major illness in a family or any major kind of circumstance or situation can cause someone to not be able to fulfill their mortgage.
That's correct. In fact, in keeping with that statistic, the percentage of your income, of family incomes that's spent just on rent, is higher here than in most other areas, right? So that's very, very significant. And so anyway, so the point is that, these families, they have aspirations, and what we do, and that hope, sometimes they come to us and they've lost that hope, right? And so what we do is instill that hope back into them, tap into their potential, because they all have potential, especially these kids. I love the kids. They're especially resilient, right? You apply the right love and compassion and resources, they bounce back. The little ones especially, right? I mean, whether it's physically, because they need to learn how to walk, or whatever it is, it's just great to see them prosper, right? So volunteers are very important in that regard, right? So Liza, can you tell us how does volunteers come into play here? Because I'm going to brag about you guys, right? I mean, in the pandemic, the number of volunteers went down to under 2,000, I think, right? And now it's up to about 6,000. And it's because of your efforts, you're constantly adding to those volunteers. And by the way, I would hold that number up just about to any organization out there. I mean, organizations would be envious to have 6,000 volunteers. We're blessed with about 6,000 volunteers who come in various capacities and work at Father Joe's Villages. So what is it? What draws them? How is it that you position these volunteers within our organization?
We are really fortunate to have the community know about Father Joe's Villages. I feel blessed in my position to be able to receive phone calls and emails asking how can we help? How can we be a part of the impact to help our communities? People are just so jazzed about getting involved. We have school groups, the military, we have corporate partnerships. They just want to come in and they believe in our mission. They believe in the vision, and it comes down to people just want to be part of something bigger than just you and me. Mm-hmm. They want to make an impact in their community, and my job and the job of my team is to make it easy for them to streamline into participating. It may be for meals or assembling donations for our superfood pantry at the warehouse, or if people have skills or a talent they want to share, we incorporate that into our programs. the best part, and I think what keeps people coming back, is all of these volunteer opportunities are to support programs that are providing services that are client facing. So they do get to see the faces of those who we are trying to instill hope into.
And Liza, you know, we are fortunate, as we all know, that the community is aware about Father Joe's Villages. You know, we've been around for some time, celebrating our 75th anniversary. But for those that don't know about us, Liza and her team also are out in the community. So could you share a little bit more about what you and your team do in the community, and how do you connect and engage those that don't know about us?
Well, we have become well versed in the history and our mission, and we do our research with departments and programs to see, you know, what are their needs and how can we share that with the community. And so our coordinators, our philanthropy coordinators, have recently gone out to schools such as Mater Dei. They've connected with organizations such as National Charity League. They've gone out with UCSD to just share the work we're doing, get people interested and inspired, and then they provide the opportunities to connect, and we recruit immediately. And so may a group come to us or individuals, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. You know, we will have groups come out, and then individuals from those groups will share awareness, or they'll come back with their families, which is always a win for me when people just come back.
Mm-hmm. Ambassadors, they become ambassadors.
That's
Yes.
right. To me, I call them champions.
The champions.
And I think, you know, showcasing the impactful opportunities that they have when they volunteer, when they come back, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that we're inspiring future generations of volunteers and community members. Can you tell us a little bit about like age groups and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the minimum age to help serve a meal is 10. You have to bring a parent or a guardian. And then we also provide opportunities to teenagers who might feel a little more independent. They can come out starting at the age of 15 without a chaperone. They can come out and help with prep work, or even help at our superfood pantry, handing out unperishable items to the community.
Right. And you have in schools, as you mentioned, there's so many schools. Yeah, not only, and people sometimes think it's just Catholic schools that come. No, we have schools from all over, not just Catholic schools, right? And they come and they make it part of the curriculum, actually, because all schools at this point have a service requirement, right? I mean, and thank God they do. And they include us as their service requirement, Father Joe's Villages. And that's where, again, Liza, you, when you reach out to the various schools, you encourage them to come and do just that. So sometimes they're here once a month or with the class, or sometimes once a week. I have to tell you a story, and it just occurs to me as I heard you speak, Liza. I was serving a meal at one point, so behind the counter and serving a meal with a school. It was a public school, and there were these young ladies that were on either side of me. They were serving from the school. And at one point, it was Tiffany. I remember her name. She was standing next to me, and she said something, but it was almost under her breath. So I asked her, I said, Tiffany, what was that? And she looked at me, and she looked out. She almost stared out at the other side of the counter. And she said, you know, not too long ago, I was on that side of the counter. Oh my gosh, she's right. And then she relayed her story about her mom. And they had fallen into hard times. And she then went on to tell me that her mom actually, after we had helped them and secure a place and so forth, she developed cancer, and she succumbed to that cancer, actually, so she had lost her mom. But here she was with her classmates serving a meal, and it was profound for her. I mean, just the way she relayed that. She said, not too long ago, she said, I was on that side, she said. So people, again, who you never know, right? But they come back and they give. And the military, you mentioned the military. I love to see the military out there. They come in and they serve as a group. So many groups, and corporate. Talk about corporate, actually. How do you engage the corporations? What do they do when they come here, as an example?
We've provided different opportunities for corporations such as Bank of America, one of our ongoing supporters, corporate groups, and we've had them where they did like a day of service, where they'll help. Some will help in the kitchen serving meals. We'll have a few folks go up to our day center and help with donations and handing out hygiene kits. And then we'll have some of the corporate volunteers go over to the warehouse. So it's an all-day thing. We try to involve as many people from corporate partnerships. What else do we do? Beautification projects. So we'll partner up with facilities and just see where the needs are at the village. May it be doing some painting or putting in new window screens on the residential floors, or even going down to their chop shop and helping wherever the needs are, and just making a way that the village is beautified and it's a place where the staff, volunteers, and the clients feel safe and comfortable and at peace.
It isn't make work. It's not as if, let's just make up work for them. No, this is significant work. I mean, the dollar value last year for the hours of services of those 6,000 volunteers was almost $2 million. I mean, think about it. I wouldn't have been able to take another $2 million from my budget to get that work done. So this is real work that's making a difference in the various capacities in our village. And a lot of times, as you mentioned, the organization will have me come and address the group at the beginning. So they get to give them a picture of the full scope of who we are. And then they sometimes have a team building exercise themselves or some meeting amongst themselves. So we'll allow the space for that. And then they go off to the service as well. So we love partnering with our corporations. So
Absolutely.
Speaking of that partnership, I want to shift to Peggy, because one of the corporate partnerships we have, and I know you'll discuss that, but it's a good segue into the Ladies Guild.
Yes.
The Ladies Guild has been with us. I'll set the stage in a second. It's been with us 43 years now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean, this is something Father Joe Carroll started back almost immediately after he started.
About a year after he started.
Right,
Yeah.
and he wanted to put together a group, and of course, he focused on women, basically. Why? Because women get things done, right? And so he focused, and we put together this group, and there's one member who you have,
Dottie
Cunningham,
Yes.
She's
been here since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, it's incredible. I think she was 5 years old at the time. When she started. But anyway, people who they love the mission of the Ladies Guild and what you do. So talk to us about this.
Okay, the mission of the Ladies Guild is to enrich the lives of the children and the families who live at Father Joe's Villages. We really are focused on the kids. And we help them in a number of ways. Some of them are ongoing things we do every year. For example, our Christmas shopping or our monthly birthday parties. Mm-hmm. We also make sure that the teenagers get to go to the San Diego County Fair every year. We donate clothing and back to school supplies to the kids. And then we also, for the parents of those kids, we help stock the career closet. So we donate typically black slacks, white shirts, and black shoes, because these parents may not otherwise be equipped for even the job interview to get the job that will help them take that step forward. Right. So we do all of those things on a regular basis, and we have our own fundraising events to pay for all of those. I think my most favorite is the Christmas shopping and gift wrapping activity.
Yes, please tell us more about that.
I am happy to tell you all about that because it's my favorite. And hats off to Walmart, because we have partnered with them for at least the last 5 years. And what happens is on 2 consecutive days in early December, 2 different teams, a team each day of our Ladies Guild members congregates at Walmart at dark 100. They open the doors early on our behalf, and the parents from the village are bussed down to Walmart. We partner up with them, one of our members with each parent, who comes with a shopping list for each of their kids, their wish list for their kids. They've been given a budget, because this is a life lesson for the parents. They have to keep to the budget. And so our parents shop our members shop with those parents. And in an hour and a half, we go from parents that have nothing to shopping carts overflowing with toys and gifts and clothes for their kids. All those items are then bused back to the village, and we have another team of members there helping them wrap those gifts, and then the gifts are ultimately hidden away by staff at the village until it's Christmas morning.
Right,
and these
right.
kids are
Amazing.
going to get something under the tree that otherwise wouldn't have been there.
And that their parents chose
That's
out,
right,
right?
that's
As
right.
parents, we know how special it is to be able to pick out specific things for our children, the colors that they like, the sizes that they need. And the ladies, talking about this event, this kind of 2-day event that we do for the children and families, you talked about the budget, which is a really important thing for our parents. But I also just want to highlight that is possible through the work of the Ladies Guild, through their fundraising. Those are some of the efforts that are able to be funded and that we're able to provide for the children and families of the village.
Yeah, we're happy to pay that bill. It's it's the best money spent all year long, I think.
Amazing.
We also have an annual fundraiser, and we're very happy to be able to present you, Deacon Jim, with a check every May-ish.
I look forward to it. It's already on my calendar, I think, the day in May. Yeah.
And so we have the ability through all of our fundraising to be able to give you funds every year that you can use as you guys feel is the most appropriate at the village. Again, focused on the kids and their families.
And thank you,
You guys
so
are great.
much.
You really are. The Ladies
Well,
Guild,
thanks.
you're a force.
Peggy, in your 10 years with the Ladies Guild, can you let us know what your experience has been like? What changes have you seen?
You know, it's interesting. There have been changes. I would say the most noticeable for me, maybe because I've been the treasurer of this organization, is the amount of fundraising that we've been able to amass. So when I started, I think we were able to donate on the order of $10,000 to $15,000 a year to the village, and now we're collectively pretty steadily up around $40,000 a year that we're happy to be able to donate back to the
Amazing.
village.
And that's in
that's-
addition to all the work you do.
That's in addition to
Oh,
all
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
everything else that
That's
we
right.
do. That's just over and above.
Right, right.
So,
And yeah, tremendous. And I think worth mentioning that the time that the Ladies Guild give, I think amounts to more than 10,000 hours as a group.
yeah, do you know offhand?
It's more than 10,000, absolutely.
Because there's about 200 members, right?
We've been running pretty steadily at about 200 members. What's very heartwarming is that some members, like Dottie, have been here all 43 years that we've been in existence, and at the same time, we get new blood in every year, and just the enthusiasm of these people who have the same heart that the rest of us have. And they are just gung-ho, excited, jazzed about being part of the Ladies Guild and what we do. And we have a variety of things that they can do. You don't have to be just, I'm probably the only one who's good with a spreadsheet, and then then there are others who are far more creative. I can barely tie my shoes, but they know how to make centerpieces and decorations and everything that we need.
And Christmas trees.
And Christmas trees, that's right, we made a Christmas tree, and they can do,
Yes, and gift
call the others when you need things gift wrapped, don't call me. And so there are big jobs, there are little jobs, and it's really whatever is a good fit for each of our members. Liza comes to us every month with a wish list of other ways that we can help. Just this past week, Monday, we had our monthly meeting, and she got a sign up of about 25 people to help put together hygiene kits.
Amazing.
That'll go towards our next special meal.
Right.
That's incredible. Thank
That's
you.
right. That's right. And so actually that's a good segue to bring it back to Liza, because how can we engage the community? I mean, if you put out a call to action, there's so many ways, right? You just mentioned that almost a drive for hygiene kits, right? There's so many, because we have different entities and individuals who come to us and say, we'd like to put together a drive. What do you need? And my response is always, what don't we need, right? We need everything, right? From diapers to everything else. And so how do what's your call to action for the community, actually?
Well, first I check with our programs and our staff because they're the ones that have the ear to the ground on what the needs are. So I'm in constant communication. Do you have volunteer opportunities? Do you have any needs? What kind of donation drives could we coordinate for you? And so I've worked with our Therapeutic Child Care Center to know their specific needs. David at our warehouse, he lets us know what our ongoing needs for the day center, for the village. And so for groups, volunteer groups who might not be able to make it down to the village to volunteer, we coordinate donation drives that they do off-site. That's still time they're giving back and providing in-kind donations. And then also a call to action, I'll send out a mass email to former volunteers and current volunteers. And we'll also continue our recruitment in the community, just providing the current opportunities. May that be something such as a meal service, all the way up to helping facilitate a walking group or help with our health and wellness programs. We have the bicycle club, so we always need volunteers to help facilitate those as well. So the needs are always growing and changing to align with the growing and changing of our organization.
And it's so diverse because we're blessed to be so comprehensive, right? So there's our federally qualified health center, right? And it has all the disciplines, the medical disciplines. So anyone who's a health practitioner who wants to give back can help in that regard, right? We have you mentioned our day center, right? Individuals who are not residing with us, but they need a place off the streets each and every single day just so that they can connect. We can start working with them. It's a place actually where it's their address, the address of record. And so they receive mail there, as an example. We get hundreds of pieces of mail each and every single day there, right, to be sorted for different individuals. And so that's a critical place. But there are volunteer opportunities there within the day center. Of course, serving meals, our therapeutic child care center. Mm-hmm. You can come in and become mentors within our therapeutic child care center. So there are so many ways in which people can get involved. And if you're interested in certain populations, veterans, if you want to work with veterans or with those types of programs, I mean, we're just so diverse. We're blessed to have that level of diversity and comprehensiveness. And so it's attractive to a whole host of people who are out there, right?
Right, and that's why it's so important to connect with people, to have a conversation. Where do their interests lie? Where is their passion? What are they willing to try? And that's where I get so excited when people just come to serve a meal, because it's a simple task, but it means the world to our clients. It's supporting our food services programs, and that's just a step in. And that I've seen so many volunteers start from serving a meal to becoming mentors, to facilitating a men and women's discussion group.
To becoming donors as well, right?
And donors.
which is always good, right? I mean, because that's an important. The work we do is through the volunteers as well as philanthropy. The vast majority of our budget is secured through philanthropy. Thank God for generous benefactors out there in the community.
What I'm hearing from both of you and from you, Deacon Jim, really is if someone has the time and has an interest to give back, there's a spot for them here at Father Joe's Villages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, I'd like to kind of just touch on one other thing. As we celebrate 75 years at Father Joe's Villages, what message would you like to share, each of you, with our listeners about the power of community, hope, and resilience?
My community, with regard to Father Joe's Villages, is the Ladies Guild. They're an amazing group of very smart, fun, dedicated, loving individuals. And they really personify for me the saying we've all heard over and over again about Mother Teresa, and not necessarily having to do something big with a little bit of love, but doing many small things with a lot of love.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
For me, 75 years means, the 75th anniversary means 75 years of resiliency. And we couldn't do this without the support of our communities. Our mission has never been about one solution. It's never been about one person. It's about all of us and about people caring, about taking action and giving back. There's nothing more powerful than community.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you, Peggy, Liza, and Deacon Jim.
This has been exciting. Great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being
Keep
here.
doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the conversation today. Father Joe's Villages has been a beacon of hope for 75 years. We are not only a service provider, but a movement and a catalyst for change. The face of homelessness is changing, and Father Joe's Villages is adapting to meet the moment. On our next podcast, we will again bring the conversation to you on important issues and solutions, as ultimately, we're all neighbors helping neighbors. If you want to learn more about Father Joe's Villages, please visit neighbor.org. Father Joe's Villages is rebuilding lives, and you can make a difference. Whether it's through cash donations, volunteering your time, contributing home goods or clothing, shopping at our thrift stores or online, or participating in planned giving, there are numerous ways to get involved. Right now, someone in our city is waiting for the support that only a neighbor like you can provide. What role will you play? Visit neighbor.org to find out how you can be a part of the movement.